The answer is 95% of camp owner directors are concerned or very concerned about not wasting water at camp. That was according to an ACA poll, which was taken in March 2014. You can see some other amazing statistics which come up, which show how much camp um, is a place, is treat to start teaching our campers to care about the environment. My old camp director, and I must admit to being a campaholic, I spent 20 years working at Blue Star from the age of 19 right up to going there with my own kids as a Team Village camp leader. But my old camp director used to say something really interesting. He used to say that the world we build tomorrow is born in the experiences we give our children today. And why camp is a great place for water stewardship is because camp is a microcosm for the world. You are all involved with camp, and really what camp does is it is a teaching place, a launching pad, if you like, to show kids how to interact with one another, with the world around them. Um, and what camp does is it creates its own little world. Every summer we come together and we create our own little world. And often the world that we create every summer is a lot better than the world outside, because the currency of camp, the currency that you want from your staff, the currency that you give, the currency that you want from your campus is not the currency of money. The currency is a currency of love. The currency is one of giving, and that is a tremendously important factor in our environment, in our world. Because if we can teach kids to care about one another, we can also teach kids to care about the environment, and that's really, really important. Sorry, I'm just going to turn my phone off. Should have done that before. That's really, really important. Getting on, we find that 98% of camp staff and counsellors think camp is a great place to teach environmental stewardship. 97% of parents agree camp is a place to teach children and teens about water conservation, and even 62% of campers said yes to water saving and other environmental activities at camp next year. So that was all really, really interesting. I've talked a little bit about why I think we can, why I'm very idealistic about how camp changes the world, but there are some other benefits to camp directors and camps. So, for example, if we can use less energy and less water, we can actually save on our bills. Not only that, we can actually do it in such a way that it enhances camp experience. At my camp in particular, there was always a problem on Saturday night or Friday night, which is the big social was Saturday night, and it was Shabbat services on Friday. There was always a problem with the older camps running out of hot water as the young camps showered. Now, in actual fact, if you're clever and you use low flow shower heads, which we actually did this time around, we'll talk a little bit more about that. I know Seth's going to talk a little bit about that. We were actually able to make sure that everybody had hot water. It also meant that when you target certain behavior changes, I was talking to a few camp directors way back when dinosaurs still stalked Blue Star, and they were telling me about some of the amazing things that turned up, which kids had flushed down the toilet. If we can actually teach our kids not to shove trash down the toilet, etc., it actually will improve the running costs of camp. But mostly importantly, as I said, what I feel it does is it builds community, because kids take camp home. Camp, as you all know, is like doggy years. You know, what happens at camp, 4 weeks at camp is like 2 years in the outside world. So habits that are formed at camp, friendships that are formed at camp, experiences that are formed at camp last forever, literally. The other thing it does is it's fantastic to show what you guys have achieved. We had mayoral recognition. The mayor of Hendersonville went and visited one of the camps that participated in our program and was just really, really impressed. And is actually one of the ripples that was caused by that is actually going to introduce some water saving into the wider community at large. A little bit more about that later. Okay, next slide. So what we wanted to do for a campaign to really work in the outside world and at camp, we need to involve absolutely everybody. That's camp owners and directors, camp staff and counselors, parents, the campers themselves, and maybe bringing a few specialist partners and providers. That creates your virtuous circle. So how do we do that? How do we get that multi-touch point campaign going? How do we do that? Okay, so first thing is, let's start small. Let's keep it really, really simple. Let's set our goals really early. So start building up, and mostly importantly, let's get staff and counsellor buy-in. Make it part of staff training. Get the staff themselves involved. Send out emails beforehand asking what staff would like to see. How can staff make, can they bring maybe an idea with regard to, instead of cabin cleanup, cabin green up? What ways could you use, which are traditional ways that you train your staff? Can you incorporate elements of environmental stewardship into that? And shout about what you're doing, because parents love to know what's going to happen at camp. So, if you're going to theme something, theme a special day at camp, maybe go for a meatless Monday fun day, let people know about it. And the other thing that is quite surprising is at camp, we all tend to operate in our own little bubble of tradition. But there are a lot of resources that are actually available to us from other camps and from partners and even from utilities. So let's talk a little bit about how we can put these into practice. You can do an audit yourself about what you can do on camp. You can, Seth is going to talk a little bit about how he checked the flow of his showers and how he checked the flow of his the flow of his taps, of his faucets. You can look at faucet inserts, shower heads, toilet replacements, check for leaks. I know Danny's going to be diving right into that. A pool cover, rainwater harvesting. Adrian mentioned that, and we can talk a little bit about some of the competitions that we instituted. For instance, rain barrel decoration became really, really big. We're going to see some examples of that. Rebates. We actually approached Duke Power, who actually, Seth's going to tell you all about that, but actually Blue Star managed to get a whole raft of stuff like shower heads and aerators free from Duke Power. And strangely enough, when I spoke to the Duke Power guy, he was absolutely bowled over that someone at last, a camp, had actually used the rebate, because this rebate had been in existence for about 2 years and no camp institution had actually used it. And that's kind of quite scary, because there are a lot of free resources out there which are available, but which we're just not aware of. We also, as I said, wanted to keep it simple. So here are some options that are easily understandable and easily achievable. Shower shorter, save water. Stop the gush when you brush. That's turn off the tap when you're brushing your teeth. 3 Ps in the toilet, poop, pee, paper. There is a 4th P, of course, which is puke, but that's only when councils have had an excessive night out, I suppose. Reusing towels. One of my favourites. Kids, as we all know, tend to shower, and instead of hanging that towel, they drop that towel on the floor. Rainwater. Again, we're going to talk about how to collect rainwater. Leaks. Encourage your staff to report on leaks. And pledges. Kids will take pledges, but they will only take those pledges if we can reinforce that behaviour consistently at camp. So actually, going on from that, it's not a one-hit wonder. We have to do quite a lot. We're very good at understanding concepts as people. We're less good at actually taking action ourselves. And that's what we mean by cognitive misers. We can understand concepts, we don't necessarily take the action needed. So we need to be motivated. We need to be self-motivated, and we need to do it from a positive point of view. It's no good, standing over kids and telling them that if they don't look after the planet, we're all going to die. That really doesn't work. If we can do it in a positive way, it's far, far better. So, as I said, small goals, coupled with practical actions, and also connecting it with the traditions and the beliefs and the values of camp, making it normal. We did that quite consistently, both at Blue Star and at Judea, when we harnessed the traditional values of camp with environmental stewardship, with saving water. We connected the kids very much themselves. So Seth will talk about stickers that were put up, but the kids themselves put up those stickers. We made behavior change part of behavior change. We incorporated it into treasure hunts. So the camp tradition is absolutely vital, and you guys are the experts in your camp tradition. Every camp's traditions are obviously different, but some of the ones that we did, which we found very successful, were cabbing green up, color war. We introduced environmental stewardship into color war. So for the murals that were made, we had a theme, if you like, that was environmental stewardship or water related. We encouraged the kids by using at Blue Star bucks were given out to cabins that made an effort with regard to saving water. We did one of the things that we're going to introduce is howl at the towel. That's getting the kids literally to howl when a towel is dropped. Green hook. At Judea, they're putting up green hooks to encourage the kids to actually hang their towels when they finish their shower, as opposed to dumping them on the floor. Posters were put up all over camp. A lot of them were designed by the kids themselves. Rain barrels you'll see some examples of some beautiful rain barrels that the kids decorated. And it was amazing to see some of the artwork that the kids came up with. The kids also created pottery chains, rain chains. The kids also, in their photography option, the kids did some fantastic photography. We called it PH2O, photo competitions, etc. We also used trump cards, which is a bit like war, your game of war, but connected with water. And there were 32 ways to save energy and water. And the kids, actually, it became a bit of a craze. The kids played that, especially on rainy days. Introducing themes is also fun. So no meat Monday fun day. It's kind of scary to think there are about 635 gallons of water, embedded water in a burger. But that is actually what it is. So just by going meatless on Monday, or whichever day you choose, you can actually work out how many gallons of water you're actually saving. It's kind of quite cool to do that. So also spreading the word. We found that our camps were able to use what they were doing, the good that they were doing, in social media. We've also found that they're now talking about inter-camp competitions. That's, for instance, a rain barrel competition. Who can design and create the most beautiful rain barrel as a work of art. Knowledge sharing, swapping what one camp did successfully with another, and continuing the tradition. In other words, as I said, it's not a one-hit wonder, a day program, or just a summer program. It becomes part of the tradition. So building what you did last year and using it as a springboard for next year. So that brings me to my pop-up poll. So according to WaterSense, if every home in the US installed water-efficient showerheads, we could save how much money in water and energy bills? Is it 1 million in water and 2 million in energy, 2.2 billion in water and 2.6 billion in energy, 1.5 million in water and $0 in energy, or 1.5 million in water and 2 billion in energy? The vote is yours.